Hi, this is Sara from SaraRanAwayWithASpoon.com. Welcome to my kitchen. I'm here today and I'm going to be doing a live demo of how to make the filling for a blueberry ham pie, and along with the filling I'll show you how to assemble a blueberry ham pie. So a little bit about me. I teach online baking classes for kids. Most of the kids are in the range of 10 to 15 years old, and I teach them how to bake. They gain confidence in their skills in the kitchen, and they have fun while learning in their own home kitchens. And today I'm doing blueberry hand pies because I wanted to show you a summer treat that I thought would be fun to do. I love blueberries. I know I said last week I love strawberries, but I think I love all summer fruit. I used to go to summer camp, and the one thing I would always ask my parents to bring me was fruit. I couldn't get enough fruit at camp, and I remember plums, cherries, blueberries, strawberries. I missed them all. I know that's a little strange, isn't it? Asking for fruit for your summer treat when your parents are visiting at camp, but blueberries are a special summer treat. I don't know if you've picked blueberries before, but I think I've done it once. I went to a place in Massachusetts and I got these containers, and they were plastic containers with holes drilled into the side and a rope that we wore around our necks, and we filled up the container with blueberries. And I thought, this is the best way to pick blueberries because it was easy, they were portable, and it was and then you have a ton of blueberries, and what are you going to do with them? Make hand pies. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make up some hand pies, and it's very simple. You could even skip some of the steps. I'm going to be showing you how to make the blueberry filling, but you could, if in a pinch, you could make it with jam and store-bought dough, and 1, 2, 3, it'll be whipped up and you'll have dessert before you know it. So today I will show you what to do with the blueberries. I already have my dough cut, so I'll show you how to assemble it once it's put together. It should be pretty quick. In terms of dough, you can use store-bought pie dough, or you can make your own pie dough. I made some pie dough last night. It took literally like 7 minutes to make the pie dough. The challenge for me was cleaning the food processor. It took longer to clean the food processor than to make the dough. You can find lots of recipes for dough, and they're simple. They have 4 ingredients: flour, water, butter, and salt, and sometimes sugar. So making pie dough, don't be afraid. Maybe I'll do one of these lives and show you how to make up the dough. But today we're doing the blueberries, and we will get started. First thing up is we are going to be whisking together cornstarch and sugar. If you are using frozen blueberries, you can use either frozen or fresh blueberries. Today in my pan, I have frozen blueberries. It's not quite blueberry season, and I didn't want to spend a fortune on 2 cups of blueberries. So I'm going with frozen. I cook with frozen blueberries almost all the time because I have them in my freezer and they're ready to go. So we're mixing cornstarch and sugar. If you are doing frozen blueberries, you're going to use a little bit more cornstarch. So for frozen blueberries, it's 2.5 tablespoons. For fresh blueberries, it's only 2 tablespoons. So let me say that again. For frozen blueberries, I just need to grab a knife. And I'm leveling that off. I had a lot of extra. So 2 tablespoons for fresh and 2.5 tablespoons for frozen. This container is a little tricky to use. I wish it had an edge to it. That's 2, and I need 1/2 tablespoon more. And then the cornstarch will help thicken the blueberry sauce so it's not too runny. I don't quite have 1/2 tablespoon here. 2.5 tablespoons of cornstarch, and I'm going to mix that with 1/3 of a cup of granulated sugar. So I'm scooping out my sugar. And once you've made this recipe, you can play around with the amount of sugar. If you have blueberries that are super tart, you might want to use a little more. If they're sweet, 1/3 of a cup will probably do it. So I'm just going to mix this together. I'm using my fork. You could use a whisk. And I'll go ahead and pour that mixture over my blueberries in the pan and give it a stir so that all my blueberries are nicely coated. To that, I'm going to add a little bit of salt, just a pinch of salt. And a tablespoon of lemon juice. Let me get some lemon juice. I have this great tool. It juices the lemon on top, and on the bottom here it's a measurement, so I know right away how much juice I have. This is a juicy lemon. And get the seeds out. Plus it holds the seeds on the top, so that helps too. So 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. And I add that to the pan. Just watch out for any seeds. So I have in my pan 2.5 tablespoons of cornstarch, 2 cups of frozen blueberries, 1 tablespoon of lemon, and 1/3 of a cup of sugar. If you have fresh blueberries, it's still 2 cups of fresh blueberries, but it would be 2 tablespoons of cornstarch. So I'm going to turn this on. I'm going to let it go to about medium-high until the blueberries start to simmer, and then I'm going to turn it down to medium, and I'm going to stir it a lot and let it thicken up. So right now, it's not very liquidy. It's going to take a minute for the blueberries to thaw a little bit and start producing some liquid. So we'll just let those cook. I have an induction burner under this pan. You can't see it, but it is cooking right in front of you. And you might hear the fan. It does make a lot of noise. I don't have an induction stove. I have a gas stove. And using induction burners, they cook really fast. I don't know if anyone has used an induction burner. If you are watching and you have an induction burner or you've used one, leave a note in the comments and let me know if you like it. I find it cooks so fast. I don't know if I would want one on my stove all the time, but it's good for some demo things. You have to have certain pans that work on your induction stove. Not everything will work in induction heat. Alright, these are starting to thaw out a little bit. They're making a little bit of noise. And we will be soon having blueberries. I do want to keep stirring because the cornstarch is on the bottom here. I don't want it to burn. Here's a little bit of liquid coming out. I'm going to turn this down a little bit. Like I said, it really does cook fast, and it's very hot fast. So I'm going to stir these as they continue to cook. It should take a couple of minutes. I want the juices all to come out of the blueberries so they don't come out in my pie. These are little hand pies, and you don't want a whole lot of juice coming out because it will ruin your little hand pies. So we want to thicken up the blueberries and thicken up the juice, which is why we have so much cornstarch in here. So when we make the blueberry pies, we're going to roll out our dough, and if you have two 9-inch rounds of dough, you might want to roll it just a little bit. I think maybe get 4 pieces out of each side, each dough, like each round of dough. And the pieces that you're cutting should be about 3 inches, 4 inches. I used a cookie cutter and I'm using stars. I'll show you when I get to that step. Alright, this is pretty juicy now. I'm going to let it cook out the juice for a little bit more. So you could roll it into a square and then cut using a ruler. You could cut them into squares if you were really concerned about making them exact, but cookie cutters are a great way to use them. So you could make round pies, you could make, like I'm doing because of 4th of July coming up, I decided to try stars. You can make squares. Really anything works. You could make a square and use your cookie cutter to cut a circle out or star out in the middle, so you have an opening on the middle. This is thickening up. I can feel it thicken on the pan. Bottom of the pan is thickening. Alright, this is done. I'm going to just turn that off. I'm going to put this over here. Let that cool a little bit because that is very, very hot. And I'm going to dry this off a little bit. I have some juices on my counter. And if you were making the dough at this point, if you were rolling it out, you want to be using very cold dough. I rolled out 4 pieces and I'll show you what I'm going to do with them. After I rolled out 4 pieces, my dough was starting to get soft and squishy, so I put it back in the refrigerator and I only got through a few pieces. So don't be afraid to take a break and put your things back in the refrigerator. That would be your dough if it's soft. On the top of my pie, I'm going to be using an egg wash. So I'm just going to go ahead and crack an egg here for you. Give that a stir. And I'm letting this cool a little bit. It's really gotten thick. I don't know if you can see in here. Let me try and show it to the camera. Can you see in there? It's nice and thick. Alright, so these are the stars that I cut out earlier. And I'll just make 2 pies for you. So I have them cut. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a tablespoon of the blueberry filling on each 2 of the pieces of pie. And then I'm going to top it with the other pieces that I've cut. So let me go ahead and get some of the blueberries. Put it back onto my burner there. I'm going to just wipe out my tablespoon. So I'm going to put in a tablespoon of filling. It's really hot. I'm going to do this just for demo, but you wouldn't want to do it this hot. Can you see the steam coming off of here? Alright, a tablespoon. These are kind of big, so maybe a little bit more. Because of the star, it's a funny shape, so the edges don't have any blueberry in them with a tablespoon. And then I'm going to take a star and put it on top of the one that I've made. I'm going to press the dough down with my fingers And then I'm going to take a fork and crimp it. I'll have to wipe my fork off. And crimping means just pressing down. And then I'm going to take a paring knife and give a little slice to the top of my pie, maybe 2, so that the steam can come out. The next step, so you can see my pie, I made 1 blueberry star. All right, I'm not headless anymore. The next step is to use a little of my egg wash and cover up the top of my pie so that it doesn't burn and turns a beautiful golden color. And the final step, this is optional, but you can use some sanding sugar and just sprinkle it on top. Or you could bake them up and melt some white chocolate and drizzle that on top. I think that with what I have here, I will probably get 6 to 8 little hand pies. I'm going to cook those in an oven that's preheated to 425 degrees. And then I will cook them 18 to 20 minutes. And then I want to let them cool. They'll be very hot, so let them cool a good 20 minutes before you eat them. And you'll be all set to have a homemade hand blueberry pie. And I think they're going to be delicious. I haven't made this recipe before, so we'll see how it goes. So in review, I will put my pies in the oven and let them cook for 18 to 20 minutes at 425 degrees. And then I will let them cool for 20 minutes. That's pretty much it for me. If you've enjoyed this video, I encourage you to visit my website. You'll see the classes that I have for kids, and also you can download my free baking guide, Ready, Set, Bake. Thanks for baking with me or watching my bake along, and I'll see you next time. Have a great week.